I know why your legs hurt. You won't believe that the very first thing you do in the morning determines your strength. Welcome everyone to Mr. Senior Health, where we explore the secrets to living a healthy and long life together. Today, we're going to debunk a lie that has been believed for years: age-related muscle atrophy is inevitable. Asterisk, good morning, my friends. Let's start the day with a simple question. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? Maybe you reach for your phone, stumble toward the kitchen to make coffee, or sit on the edge of the bed, wondering how to face another day with stiffness and pain in your legs. But let me ask you this. What if I told you that just one simple morning habit, done before breakfast, before caffeine, before you scroll, could be the single thing that prevents your leg muscles from wasting away any further? Asterisk, I'm not talking about hitting the gym or expensive supplements. I'm talking about something every single one of us can do. No matter your age, background, or the level of pain you're enduring, when you wake up in the morning, your body is coming out of a state of complete stillness for 6, 7, sometimes 8 hours. You haven't moved. You've been in one position. Maybe you've rolled around a bit, but for the most part, your muscles have been in complete rest. And while rest is essential, that kind of prolonged stillness sends a message to your body, particularly your legs, that they're not needed right now. If that message is repeated every single day without interruption, your body starts to believe it. It says, okay, we're not using this muscle anymore, so we can let it go. That's how it starts. That's how muscle loss begins. Not with a loud bang, not with a warning, but with silence and stillness. Asterisk, now, let me be clear. The aging process itself doesn't make your muscles disappear. That's a myth. Something we've been taught to believe that getting older means getting weaker. But the truth is, the human body is always listening. It's always adapting. And if you give it the right signals, it will respond even at 60, 70, 80, or well beyond. But you have to send those signals intentionally. One of the most powerful signals you can send to your muscles happens first thing in the morning. Asterisk, you see, your muscles, especially the ones in your legs, like a lively conversation. If you don't talk to them, they go silent. If you don't engage, they start to fade. And overnight, when you're not moving, not stretching, not using them, they begin to contract a little bit. It's a natural part of disuse. The longer you are inactive, the stronger that signal of, we don't need this muscle becomes. And your body, in its great state of efficiency, starts to say, okay, let's divert energy elsewhere. Let's conserve. But here's the magic in that. Because the body's always adapting, it also means you can interrupt that process. You can tell your legs, hey, I still need you. Still want you to be strong. And the best time to say that is right after you wake up. Asterisk, let me share something personal. Years ago, I worked with a gentleman in his mid-70s. He was a proud man, a retired firefighter. He told me he was starting to feel hollow in his legs, as he put it. Not pain, not even weakness, just an empty feeling like the muscles were evaporating. When we checked his daily routine, everything pointed to the first 30 minutes of his day. He would wake up, sit on the edge of his bed for 15 minutes, then slowly make his way to the kitchen, get a cup of coffee, and sit back down. No activation, no engagement. His legs were silent. Asterisk, I asked him to try one simple thing before the coffee, before the TV, before anything else. I told him to stand up, gently lift one knee at a time while holding onto a bedpost, and take 20 slow, deliberate steps in place. That's it. Just that. And I said, do that every single day for 2 weeks. Don't skip it. What happened? After just a few mornings, he told me that something had shifted. His legs felt more alive. He said, it's like they remembered how to be strong again. That's the power of movement. That's the power of telling his legs first thing in the morning, you still matter. Asterisk, you don't need heavy equipment. You don't have to run around or join a class. You just need to move consciously, intentionally, and consistently. It's the very act of waking up and asking your legs to participate in your day that reminds your entire body that strength is still needed here, that you're not giving up, that you're still building, still growing. Asterisk, this isn't just about physical health. It's also about emotional and mental well-being, because when you start your day by taking charge of your own strength, you're also taking charge of your mindset. You're telling yourself, I'm not in decline, I'm not fading, I'm still writing my story. and that has a profound ripple effect on the rest of your day to come. Asterisk. Let's talk about the science for a moment, because I know some of you want to understand what's happening on a biological level. There's a condition called sarcopenia. It's the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. But here's the thing. Sarcopenia is not inevitable. It's not a guarantee. It happens primarily due to inactivity, not just age. And the legs are often the first to go because they require the most energy to maintain, and they tend to be used the least in a sedentary lifestyle. Asterisk, when you start moving your legs first thing in the morning, when you stretch your calves, flex your quads, and roll your ankles, you increase blood flow. You activate neural pathways that might have been dormant. You start up your mitochondria, the tiny power stations in your cells, and say, let's go. Let's move. That gentle activation alone can set the tone for your entire muscular system. Think of it like this. Your body is a garden. If you neglect a part of it, weeds grow, the soil withers, and life begins to retreat. But if you water it, tend to it, and check on it every single day, life returns and strength comes back. That's what morning movement does for your legs. Tells the garden, I haven't forgotten you. Asterisk, too often we think that change requires huge leaps. We think we need to overhaul our lives, join a gym, hire a trainer. But true transformation, the kind that lasts, almost always begins with something small, something quiet, something as simple as standing up and saying, I'm going to move today. Asterisk. So I want you to remember this. The next time you wake up and feel tired, stiff, and unmotivated, remember that your legs are listening. They're waiting. And the moment you choose to use them, to stretch them, to give them a reason to be strong, they respond. You are not a victim of time. You are not helpless in this journey. Every morning you are given an opportunity to speak life into your own body. When you choose to do that, when you choose to move with purpose, with intentional action, your muscles answer. They grow, they strengthen, they carry you forward. And that is the real gift. Not just stronger legs, but a stronger you. One step at a time, one morning at a time. Always moving forward, always rising up. Asterisk. Let's get one thing clear. Transformation doesn't come from doing everything at once. It doesn't come from pressure or perfection. It comes from small, consistent actions done with intention. And when it comes to protecting your leg muscles from shrinking, it doesn't require you to be an athlete or spend hours in the gym. It really takes about 5 to 10 minutes every morning. Just 5 to 10 minutes of gentle, purposeful movement. That's it. We live in a world that glorifies extremes. We celebrate the marathon runners, the heavy lifters, and the grueling workouts. That's all well and good, but what about the rest of us? Asterisk. What about the 60-year-old woman who just wants to be able to walk to her mailbox without pain? Or the 75-year-old man who wants to get up from his chair without a struggle? Or the person who has been sedentary for years, afraid to start, because everything seems so overwhelming? You don't need a mountain to climb. You need a single step. That's where the magic lies. Asterisk. You see, your body doesn't need extreme effort to hold on. It needs a consistent signal. It needs to be reminded. When you take those 5 to 10 minutes in the morning to gently move your legs, to stretch, to flex, to activate, your body gets the message. We're still using these muscles. We still need them, and that is enough to prevent the decline. That is enough to keep the fire lit inside your cells. Don't underestimate what happens in those few minutes. Asterisk. When you get up from your bed and do a few slow marches in place, you're not just moving your legs. You're beginning a conversation with your nervous system. You're firing signals from your brain to your muscles saying, wake up, connect, work together. That conversation keeps those pathways strong. It keeps your coordination alive. It strengthens not only your muscles, but also your balance system that protects you from falls. Asterisk, let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're standing at your kitchen counter. The sun is just peeking through the window. You gently hold the edge of the counter with one hand for support. Start by lifting one heel up, then the other, alternating slowly. Calf raises. Easy, smooth, not too rigid. After 30 seconds, you gently lift each knee up like a slow-motion marching soldier. You take your time. You don't have to rush. You're listening to your body. You might feel stiff at first, maybe even a little sore, but that's okay. That's your body waking up. That's circulation returning. That's healing beginning. And here's what's even more powerful. By doing this every morning, you are creating a ritual. You're building something sacred into your day. This isn't just movement, it's self-respect. It's a quiet declaration that your health matters, that your body is worth showing up for every single day. Over time, that little ritual starts to transform you. At first, you notice you're less stiff in the morning. Then you notice you have more endurance when walking around the house. Your posture begins to improve. You feel stronger, not just in your legs, but in your spirit. That is what 5 to 10 minutes can do. Asterisk now. I know some of you may be skeptical. You might be thinking, how can something so small make such a big difference? But let me ask you this. How does muscle loss happen? Does it all happen at once? No. It happens little by little, day by day, through inaction. So why wouldn't the solution be the opposite? Muscle gain, muscle preservation, strength. It also happens little by little, day by day, through intentional action. That's the truth. Asterisk, I once worked with a woman named Evelyn. She was 82 when she came to see me. She had been active most of her life, but after a hip surgery, she slowed down abruptly. She lost confidence in her legs. She started to avoid movement altogether. That led to weakness, which led to more fear, which led to more sitting. It was a cycle, a quiet spiral. But Evelyn was determined and she was open. I asked her to start. With just 5 minutes every morning, that was the deal. I gave her 3 simple exercises: heel raises, gentle knee lifts, and side leg swings while holding a chair. No weights, no fancy equipment, just her body and a few quiet moments. Asterisk the first. Few mornings she said it was hard. She felt unsteady. She didn't trust her body, but she did it anyway. And by the end of the first week, something had shifted. She told me, I'm starting to feel like me again. Not just physically, but emotionally. She was showing up for herself. She was honoring her strength instead of fearing her weakness. In a month, Evelyn was walking further. Her legs were more stable. She had more energy. Even joined a gentle Tai Chi class at her community center. And do you know what she said? To me, that brought tears to my eyes. She said, I thought my strong days were behind me, but now I think they're still ahead. Asterisk, that is the power of 5 to 10 minutes. That is the power of small steps repeated with love, with purpose, with belief. You don't need a personal trainer. You don't need motivation every moment of the day. You need a reason, and I'm going to give you one. Your future self. That version of you who still wants to walk without help, who still wants to garden, to dance, to play with your grandchildren, to travel in full. That version of you is being shaped by the decisions you make today, not someday, but today. Asterisk. So, I challenge you. No, I invite you to start tomorrow. When you wake up, before the distractions, before the news and the noise and the stress, give yourself those 5 to 10 minutes. Just you and your legs. Breathe. Move. Thank your body. And then go on with your day, knowing you've done something incredible. Because every morning you choose to move is a morning you choose to live. You choose to grow. You choose resilience. You choose hope. And I promise you this, those small actions will build something big. Not just stronger legs, but a stronger life. So go on, make your morning movement non-negotiable. 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you can, just that. That's how the journey begins. And the best part, you don't need anything but your body, your breath, your belief. Asterisk, there's something sacred about the first few minutes of the day. Before the world demands your attention, before your mind starts to race with tasks, worries, or headlines. That tiny window in the morning, that's when your body and your brain are at their most impressionable. And that's when your muscles, especially in your legs, are begging you for one thing: movement. Not intensity, not speed, just presence, just activation. Those first moments after waking are more powerful than most people realize. Asterisk, during sleep. Your muscles have been inactive for hours. Your blood flow slows, your joints get stiff, and your body temperature drops. It's a natural part of rest. But what also happens, especially if you're over the age of 50, is that your body starts to interpret this stillness as the new normal. If it continues day after day, week after week, your muscles begin to respond accordingly. They start to shrink, to fade, to give up. That's why so many people feel weak or wobbly when they first stand up in the morning. It's not just age, it's disuse. Asterisk. So, what happens when you change that script? What happens when you reclaim those first 10 minutes of your day and make them about intention, about preparation, about strength? Let me tell you, it changes everything. You don't have to be a morning person. You don't have to spring out of bed with the energy of a teenager. But you do need to recognize that how you begin your day sets the stage for everything that follows, especially when it comes to your physical health. Asterisk, you see, the body thrives on rhythm, on patterns, on consistency. And the morning is when you have the most control over your routine. Before the phone calls, before the errands, before the world gets noisy, you have a quiet moment where you can send a clear, powerful message to your body. I'm here. I'm engaged. I'm not surrendering. Asterisk, let me paint you a picture. Imagine waking up and instead of dragging yourself to the kitchen, you sit on the edge of your bed. You place your feet flat on the floor. You roll your ankles slowly. 10 times each way. You point and flex your toes. You stand up and lift your knees gently, one at a time, as if in slow motion, marching. Then you take a few steps in place. You feel your heels pressing into the floor, your calves gently stretching, your hips opening up. Right there, that's not exercise. That's a message. That's saying to your legs, I'm up, I'm awake. You need to be too. Let's get loose. And your body hears that. Your blood starts to flow. Oxygen starts to move into your muscle tissues. The mitochondria inside your cells wake up, ready to produce energy. Your joints release their stiffness. Your nervous system, still groggy from sleep, begins to engage. Your brain says, okay, we're moving today. This is what I call a physiological reset. It doesn't require weights or a treadmill or special clothing. It just requires attention. Asterisk, and the most wonderful part is that it only takes a few minutes. That small window there at the start of your day, it's like planting a seed in fertile ground. Whatever you plant there tends to grow. Asterisk, let me tell you about a person I met recently. Her name was Clara. She was 71, beautiful energy, kind eyes. But she came to me feeling defeated. Her legs felt heavy in the mornings. She was afraid of falling. She hated that she had to sit down to put her socks on. Her independence was slowly slipping through her fingers, and she knew it. I asked her about her mornings. She said she would wake up, get up, sit on the bed for a few minutes, then slowly shuffle to the bathroom. That was it. No stretching. No movement, just survival. I explained to her the power of that first day movement, not as a chore, but as a ritual. I gave her 3 simple movements to do right when she woke up. Nothing fancy, just enough to activate her body. She was skeptical, but she said she'd try. A month later, she walked into my office with tears in her eyes. It's working, she said. I feel strong again, not afraid to stand up. She began to walk more throughout the day. Her balance improved, her confidence soared. But it didn't start with the gym. It didn't start with supplements. It started with the decision to honor the first few moments of her day and use them to move. Asterisk, there's science behind this. 2. The first few minutes after waking are when your natural cortisol levels are higher. It's your body's way of helping you feel alert. But cortisol also plays a role in muscle metabolism. When you move your legs in that state, your body is primed to respond. You're not just going through the motions. You're setting the tone for your entire metabolic system. You're teaching your body that movement is normal. And there's something else. When you start your day with purpose, when you move with intention, you carry that energy into everything else. You make better choices with food. You sit less. You take the stairs. You stand taller. It's a domino effect. But it begins with the decision to honor the beginning. You don't have to spend 30 minutes. Start with 3. Stand beside your bed. Ankle rolls, small squats, gentle marches. If you're sitting, extend your legs and flex your feet. Breathe into the stretch. Feel your body wake up. Feel your mind get clearer. It's more powerful than any multivitamin you could take. Asterisk, I want to be honest with you. Life is going to throw a lot at you. Responsibilities, distractions, stress. But the one thing you always have control over is how you begin. Those first moments in the morning are yours. They're the gateway to your strength. And when you walk through them with movement, with grace, with intention, you unlock something inside yourself. You unlock vitality, energy, confidence, and most importantly, you protect your muscles from disappearing, from becoming a victim of stillness. Asterisk, so don't underestimate those minutes. Don't say, it's only 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. It absolutely matters. In fact, it might be the most important part of your entire day. Your body isn't broken. It's waiting. Waiting for you to show up, to move, to stretch, to send that signal. I'm still in this. I still want to be strong. And when you do that every morning, even for just a few minutes, you're not just preventing leg muscle loss. You're creating momentum. You're reclaiming power. You're saying to yourself and to the world, my best days are not behind me. They're right here, and I'm stepping into them. One step at a time. Asterisk, I want you to stop for a second and take a deep breath.
Seriously.
Right now, wherever you are, breathe in slowly and exhale. Let go of the voices that say it's too late.
Let
go of the belief that decline is inevitable, because I'm here to tell you something you may not have heard in a long time. You can rebuild strength at any age. Doesn't matter if you're 60, 70, 80, or well beyond. I've seen people in their late 80s find their strength again. I've seen them get up from walkers, climb stairs they hadn't dared to in years, and feel their legs come alive. Asterisk, and it wasn't because they did anything extraordinary, but because they stopped believing the lie that aging means weakness. The real enemy isn't age, it's inaction. It's the belief that if you've lost some strength, you can't get it back. That's not true. Science doesn't say that. Biology doesn't say that. And your body, your incredible, resilient, adaptable body, certainly doesn't say that. Asterisk, the truth is, your muscles respond to use regardless of your age. They respond to effort. They respond to movement. The body isn't a machine that rusts with time. It's a living organism that adapts to challenges, even small, consistent challenges. Here's where it gets exciting. You don't have to train like an Olympic athlete. You don't need heavy weights, a fancy gym, or hours of your day. What you need is a choice made every single day to stimulate your body and remind it that it still has work to do. Asterisk now. Let me tell you a story that lives in my heart. I met a man named Samuel, 76 years old, a retired teacher, full of wisdom, but carrying a sadness behind his eyes. He told me I used to walk miles, but now I'm breathless getting to the mailbox. I asked him when it started. He said after I slowed down, I never really started back up. What struck me wasn't his age. It was his acceptance of the decline. It was as if he'd made his peace with the loss of his strength. And that broke my heart because I knew what was still possible for him. Asterisk so. I asked him, would you be willing to give me 5 minutes of movement every morning just to see what happens? He looked at me with uncertainty. I don't think it will help, he said. But then he paused and added, but I'll try. And that I'll try changed everything. We started with chair exercises, leg raises, ankle rolls, slow marches, nothing complicated. Just signaling to his muscles that they were still needed. Within 2 weeks, he was walking further. A month later, he wasn't using the handrail on his stairs anymore. And 6 months after we met, he called me, his voice shaking, and said, Doc, I just walked 3 blocks without stopping. I haven't done that in 10 years. Asterisk, that is what happens when we choose movement over resignation. When we stop telling ourselves, it's too late. Because the truth is, our bodies are listening every single day. And even after decades of decline, your muscles are waiting for an invitation to come back. They haven't given up on you. Don't you give up on them? Asterisk, I know it's not easy. I know the aches and pains are real. I know you may feel a sense of shame about the weakness you've gained, but none of that disqualifies you from starting. It doesn't mean you're broken or beyond help. It just means you're human. And being human means you're still capable of healing, of growing, and of getting stronger. The beauty of muscle is its dynamic nature. You lose it when you don't use it, but you can build it back when you start using it again, slowly, patiently, and deliberately. Asterisk, and the key is consistency. 5 minutes a day, every day. That's the formula. Not a burst of intensity, not overwhelming yourself, but a steady, daily conversation with your body that says, I'm still here. I still care. Let's move. So what does that look like? Maybe it's waking up in the morning and getting up slowly, rolling your shoulders, and then doing 10 knee raises while holding onto a chair. Maybe it's walking down the hallway and back with intention, focusing on your posture and your breath. Maybe it's sitting on the edge of your bed and lifting one leg at a time. That's not nothing. It's everything. Asterisk, and over time, your body starts to change. Your legs feel less heavy. Your stride becomes more confident. The chair doesn't seem so far away. The floor doesn't feel like a hazard zone anymore. You're reclaiming your independence, one movement at a time. Asterisk, let me be clear. We're not just talking about strength. We're talking about freedom. We're talking about your ability to get out of a car by yourself without help, to walk through the park with your grandchildren, to climb into bed without fear. That's what strength gives you. Not muscles for the mirror, but muscles for your life. Asterisk, I want you to imagine something. If you had to visualize yourself a year from now, you've committed to those 5 to 10 minutes of leg activation every morning. You haven't missed more than a few days. You've made it a part of your routine, just like brushing your teeth or making your bed. Now imagine how your body feels. Your legs are stronger, your balance is better, you're more mobile, more energetic, more alive. That's not a fantasy, it's biology. That's a reality for anyone willing to put in the daily work. Asterisk, but you have to believe that it's possible. You have to believe that you're worth the effort. And you are. You've been through too much. You've overcome too much to let your strength slip away quietly. Not now. Not when there's so much life still waiting for you. Asterisk, so the next time you wake up and think, I'm too old for this, I want you to capture that thought. Place it with this. Maybe older, but I'm not done yet. Say it out loud. Say it every morning if you have to, because your body will hear it and your muscles will believe it. Let the strength come back one breath, one stretch, one step at a time, because it is never too late. Not for healing, not for hope, and never too late to be strong again. Asterisk, there's something beautiful about simplicity, about taking one small action and allowing it to set the tone for everything that comes after. That's what mindful movement does, especially in the morning. It's not about burning calories or building big muscles. It's about momentum. And momentum, once it starts, has a way of changing everything. Let me explain what I mean when I say mindful movement creates momentum. I'm not just talking about physical momentum, though your body does respond when you move. I'm talking about emotional, psychological, and even spiritual momentum. When you start your day with intention, even in something as simple as moving your legs for 5 minutes, you're planting a seed that grows far beyond that moment. It tells your brain today we are choosing to act. It tells your body we are alive, we're present, and we're not giving up. Asterisk, most people think that transformation starts with motivation, but that's not entirely true. Transformation begins with movement, and that movement doesn't have to be dramatic, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be mindful. You wake up, and instead of rushing through the morning, or worse, staying still, you pause. You acknowledge your body. You gently stretch. You lift your knees. You roll your ankles. You breathe. You feel the muscles engage. Tell your nervous system, let's go. And something shifts. Something inside begins to wake up. Asterisks, you see, your body is hardwired to follow patterns. It's how we survive. It's how we learn. So when you do something every single day, especially at the same time, like in the morning, it becomes a habit. And when that habit is movement, especially mindful movement, you begin to build a track, a rhythm, a pattern of strength, balance, and self-respect. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. That's momentum. Asterisk, let me take you back a few years. I was working with a woman named Joy, a beautiful name, and it eventually fit her perfectly. But when we met, she wasn't feeling joyful at all. She was in her mid-60s, dealing with arthritis and feeling stuck. She told me, "I feel like I've slowed down so much that my body has forgotten how to move." I believed her because I've seen it happen. Inaction begets more inaction. The longer we stay still, the heavier life feels, not just physically, but emotionally. Asterisk. So I gave her something simple. I didn't tell her to exercise. I told her to move mindfully. Every morning, before she checked her phone or turned on the TV, she was to do 3 things. Take some deep breaths, stretch her calves and quads while standing at the counter, and do 20 slow steps in place. That's it. No pressure, no goals, just presence. Asterisk, the first week she said she felt silly. "Is this really going to help me?" she asked. I told her, "It's not about today. It's about the signal you're sending yourself. Keep going." She kept going. 3 weeks later, she emailed me. "Dr. Gardner," she wrote, "I feel different. I'm not moving much more throughout the day, but I've started cooking again. I'm choosing to walk to the mailbox. I don't even stop to think about it. I just do it." That's momentum. Asterisk. That's what happens when you plant the seed of mindful movement every morning. It spills over. It starts small, but it spreads. Or Sawan. A few minutes of movement and suddenly you're making better choices. You're reaching for healthier food. You're socializing more. You find yourself standing taller, walking more confidently. It's not just physical, it's a shift in identity. Asterisk. Because here's the truth. Every time you choose movement over stillness, you're reminding yourself that you are alive. You're saying, "I'm not fading. I'm not falling apart. I'm still growing." When that becomes your identity, momentum becomes inevitable. Asterisk, and let's not forget what this does to your brain. When you move, you release endorphins. You improve blood circulation. You activate the areas of your brain associated with focus, memory, and emotional resilience. So mindful morning movement doesn't just protect your legs, it protects your mood, your mindset, and your mental clarity. It becomes your anchor in a chaotic world. Asterisk. And it's not just the act of movement that matters. It's the mindfulness behind it. When you move without rushing, when you tune into your body and feel the stretch, the lift, the breath, you're connecting with yourself. You're building a relationship with your body based on gratitude instead of criticism. That's powerful. Healing. That's what sustains momentum. Asterisk. I want to remind you, momentum doesn't have to be fast. It just has to be forward. Think of it like pushing a rock. At first it takes a lot of effort. It barely moves, but once it starts to roll, even slowly, it becomes easier to keep it going. That's your health. That's your strength. That's your life. Asterisk. Maybe today you feel like that rock hasn't moved in a long time. Maybe you've been stuck, sitting still, wondering if you'll ever feel strong again. I'm telling you, you will. But not all at once. It begins with that first 5 minutes, that first act of mindful movement. And the more you show up, the better your body responds. Asterisk, let's be honest. Some days will feel harder than others. Some mornings, you will feel stiff, tired, unmotivated. But those are the most important days to move. Not perfectly, not significantly, just intentionally, because that's how you honor your momentum. That's how you protect it. Asterisk. So, tomorrow morning when your feet hit the floor, take a moment, stand tall, roll your shoulders, stretch your calves, lift one knee then the other. Stand in place for a minute, breathe, feel your body say yes, feel your spirit awaken. That's how you build momentum. That's how you keep going. And remember, this isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday. One mindful movement at a time. You are not stuck. You are not helpless. You are capable of moving forward. And it begins not someday. Not when you feel ready, but now with the small but powerful act of choosing movement. It's with presence, with purpose, with belief. Because momentum doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing one thing every day. When that's done with heart and awareness, it grows, it lifts you, it carries you. That is the power of mindful movement. That is the key to lifelong strength, and you have it inside you right now, waiting to be used. So, get up, move, breathe, and start.